What a lot of these companies have realized is that the money isn't in having other people resell tickets. The money is actually in them buying the tickets themselves and reselling it themselves.
Oh, hi, Mark.
What's up, Freccero fam? Welcome back to my channel where I like to explore everything that life has to offer, but I'm not able to do that as much anymore regarding music because of this ticketing situation. We all know with like Ticketmaster, for example, and AXS, just super annoying services to use. But what happened recently, both with Taylor Swift, but especially Pretty Lights, things are getting so ridiculous and so extreme. It's just out of control. There's no other way to word it. Now, a little bit ago, John Oliver did an entire piece talking about the ticketing situation. I highly suggest watching it. I'm a huge fan of John Oliver. And it was a very well-studied, well-researched piece, of course, like most of his pieces, talking just about the negative effects of what's going on. And this is something that has not only not gotten better since that, but gotten significantly worse. Here's what's going on. To really break it down in the most simple way, and that is this: ticket scalping bots. Now, ticket scalping isn't something new. The main idea is this. Let's say someone buys, and I'm going to make numbers super simple. Someone goes, they buy a concert ticket with the main mindset of reselling it for money, right? So let's say I go and I buy a concert ticket for $50, but then I go and sell it for $100 to make a $50 profit. That is the way some people make money. And of course, we can all agree, super messed up, right? Super messed up for a lot of people. Let's say if they want to see their favorite artist, the fact that people are going out of their way to buy a finite resource, as in concert tickets, for the pure purpose of reselling it at a way higher cost. Super messed up. But things have gotten tremendously worse because now, and this is what's happening overall, not just with Taylor Swift, but especially Pretty Lights, which I'm going to talk about a lot because there's a lot of unique evidence with Pretty Lights in terms of the behind the scenes of what's going on. But what's going on now, not just with Taylor Swift or Pretty Lights, but also Justin Bieber and other artists, pretty much any big artist, that there's going to be a lot of hype to buy the tickets. Companies are using bots to buy thousands of tickets within seconds and then putting them on resale markets within seconds for a huge profit. And that news story that I talked about with John Oliver, he mentioned how for some artists, only 7 or even 8% of tickets were actually bought by people. All the rest of them, the thousands of other tickets, were bought by bots to then quickly put on a resale site for an insane profit. And this happens, like I said, within seconds. And unfortunately, this is happening pretty much every single time there are very desired and coveted tickets for a major artist. And like I said, and this is very important to understand the timeline, typically for, let's say, very coveted tickets for a major artist, you typically have to access the site at a very specific time, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., 11 a.m., whenever it is. The second that clock hits, you go on and you're scrambling to buy tickets. Within seconds, pretty much all the tickets are gone, not just because it's a major artist, which is partly true, but it's because most of the tickets are just bought by bots and then within seconds put on a resale site, like I said, also, as you can imagine, for a major profit as well. They are severely overcharging. And what's so ridiculous about this is it happens so quickly, it's pretty much a straight up scam. Meaning, you could, let's say, refresh your browser at 9 a.m., and in the time it could take you to refresh your browser, there was already thousands of tickets purchased by bots, and now they're already on a resale site. It's probably faster for you, if anything, when that clock strikes, to buy a resale ticket that's obnoxiously overpriced compared to buying an actual regular ticket.
Really?
This practice is super common. And again, in the John Oliver piece, he talks about how even Ticketmaster and other companies know this is happening and they just pretty much don't care. They're just like, whatever, right? And as you can imagine, for huge fans, this is super disheartening to be like, okay, I refreshed my browser at 9 a.m. Tickets were already sold out, but I just refreshed it at like 9 a.m. in maybe 1 or 2 seconds. I didn't get tickets. Now I go on to a resale site and the tickets were typically $50, but now they're 200 bucks or 250. With that being said, now let's talk about the Pretty Lights situation. In case you don't know, Pretty Lights is my favorite artist, and he's basically been pretty much in the dark for the past 5 or 6 years. Nobody really knew what he was doing. Was he working on music? Did he just give up music, etc., etc.? And then all of a sudden came back with an amazing video and basically said, hey, I'm now doing this huge tour and everything. And this was the first time anyone had heard of him since roughly 2018 when he performed at Red Rocks. So everybody was super excited. He has a massive following. Now, luckily, I did get tickets. I feel super lucky to say that I did get tickets for the Dillon Amphitheater in Colorado. And this is very important to mention. I spent about $235 for a 3-night run. His first stop, however, his first performance in years upon years is actually happening at the Mission Ballroom in Denver. Tickets were typically $60 for one night, but within seconds, they were all sold out. And I want you to guess, I'm going to pause on this video. How much do you think those tickets are being resold for by bots? Do you think it's 120, twice the amount of money? Do you think it's 160, maybe $100 more than the actual price? Are you ready? Boom. As you can see, these tickets are being sold for thousands of dollars. Thousands. This is why it's so ridiculous. If you're a massive fan of Pretty Lights and you're like, oh, I really want to see him at the Mission Ballroom, it's a great venue, etc., and then you go to buy tickets on a resale site and you're like, all right, I guess I'll spend maybe $200. I'll spend $140 more on the ticket, whatever. And then you're like, oh, wait, no, the cheapest I can find it, for at least at the exact time of this video when I screenshotted this from Vivid Seats, is $3,000.
Damn.
One of my girlfriends, and this is true, one of my good friends, she told me, because she's obsessed with Pretty Lights, she spent $4,000 on one ticket for Mission Ballroom. I'm not making that up. This is one of my good friends, and I said to her, I'm like, hey, I love Pretty Lights too, but $4,000, and the tough part is she's like, Mark, I really love him. I really want to see him. I was not able to get tickets because they sold out within seconds, and pretty much all the tickets that were bought were by bots. Like I said, pretty much almost all the tickets are being bought by bots with the only purpose of reselling them for an insane amount of money. Now, the Festive Owl, who's a big name in the EDM world when it comes to music festivals, hence his name, posted this on his Twitter and Facebook. And as he said, my sources have authenticated this image, and I think it's important to see the current state of US concert ticketing in black and white. This is for Pretty Lights, like I said, and you can see that most of the tickets are being bought by companies with their only goal being to resell them for significantly more money. One of these companies being called Drew's Tickets. Now, Drew's Tickets has been getting a lot of hate recently after this came out, as people realize, like, wow, this is a company that all they do is use bots to buy up a ton of tickets within seconds, with their only goal, like I've said numerous times, to resell them for way more money so they make a massive profit. Their rating right now on Yelp and on Google is not doing the best. They have tried doing damage control, as you can see, but they're getting a lot of hate, as you can imagine, a lot of one-star reviews and ratings and everything. But this is not the only company doing this. And of course, with the way the internet is, I've already seen tons of memes about this. A lot of people are frustrated. And let's be honest, it's not just Pretty Lights fans. It's not just Taylor Swift fans. It's not just Justin Bieber fans. It's pretty much anybody. Any fans of any artist now knows that if you don't sign on right when that clock strikes, if you're not ready to go with, like, say, autofill on your computer and your credit card information and your payment information ready and everything, if you're not ready to go right when that clock strikes, right when the tickets will go on sale, you'll miss out because they'll all be bought by bots. And then boom, you now have to spend significantly more money. As John Oliver pointed out, sometimes up to a 7,000% markup, which is just so ridiculous. And it's just super unfortunate that this is the way people make their money. I mean, I first heard about this, which is kind of interesting. I first heard about ticket scalping, that this was a thing in college. Tiesto, the legendary DJ Tiesto, performed at my school, which in hindsight is so ridiculous that Tiesto showed up at UMass Amherst. This is in 2011. I remember standing in line, getting to the front to buy tickets, and I remember talking to the guy in front of me and being like, oh, I can't believe we're seeing Tiesto soon. And he's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy 10 tickets. And at first I thought, oh wow, you have a pretty big group to buy 10 tickets and everything, but I get it, it's Tiesto. And he's like, no, I'm gonna resell them. The tickets I think were like 20 or 25 bucks, which in college was a lot. And he was gonna flip them for I think 40 or 50. So pretty much getting double the money for one ticket. And he's like, yeah, man, he's like, I'm broke, I need the money. I think I could sell these for double the money, whatever. And whether he had a valid reason to or not, it's still super messed up. Scalping has been getting way more popular. There was a huge story, and I gotta give him a shout out with Cascade, that in 2014, he actually confronted a scalper who was giving out tickets way more overpriced for one of his shows.
Dude's texting you right now?
Yep.
We're just giving you a hard time. So I'm Cascade. We're trying to get people to not scalp. Yeah. Oh, man. You don't scalp redo tickets, dude.
And here's the big thing. Here's why there's a lot of talk of should, legal entities get involved? Should Congress get involved? There are now legitimate businesses, not one or not two. There's a bunch of sites out there that their entire business model revolves around reselling tickets. And at first, it might seem legit. It might be like, oh, well, they're reselling tickets. If, let's say, something comes up and you can't go to a concert and you want to reliably sell the ticket and get money from it, it seems like a good idea. It seems like, oh, well, yeah, it's kind of nice to be able to resell my ticket and not lose out on money, and be able to get my money back, so to speak. However, what a lot of these companies have realized is that the money isn't in having other people resell tickets. The money is actually in them buying the tickets themselves and reselling it themselves. That's where the money is. And it's just utterly ridiculous that this is happening. And again, the reason why I brought up the Pretty Lights situation is because we actually have the evidence to show, yeah, there are all these companies, and the Festive Owl posted actually a few different spreadsheets as well, showing, yeah, here are more and more evidence, here's more and more numbers and data on the back end to demonstrate this is what's exactly going on. Very few people, very few humans, let me word it that way, actually got tickets to Pretty Lights in comparison to how many tickets were purchased by bots. And the big question a lot of people have is, when will this end? Because I think there are a few workarounds. It's really tough to say though. For example, you can see the tweet by the Festive Owl that because of the hype, Pretty Lights did add in extra dates locked with pre-sale codes, but he did it kind of quietly, very subtly. And as you can see right here, as he said, almost an hour in, plenty of tickets still available, which just demonstrates that if an artist can somehow do it on their own, make it more intimate, you kind of remove the entire bot situation. But it does get tricky. It's kind of this game of cat and mouse where a big ticketing company like Juice Tickets or another one hears about this and they somehow get access to the code, they can quickly go in with bots and purchase more. And it becomes this very tricky situation. Artists have tried doing their own thing, avoiding things like Ticketmaster and whatnot on other sites. But the problem is that with Ticketmaster, and especially now being paired with Live Nation, they in a sense have a monopoly over the live music just world. Where like if you do want to do a tour and you're going to try to avoid them or try to avoid AXS and all these other sites and everything, it's going to be really difficult. And like I mentioned, Ticketmaster knows this is going on. Ticketmaster knows other companies are going to their site to buy tickets with bots to resell them super quickly for a profit, and they just don't care. They try to act like they do, but they really, really don't. And this makes getting tickets so much more difficult. This is a post on the Pretty Lights family Facebook group that I'm a part of, and as you can see, about half the amount of people got tickets, and about half the amount of people did not get tickets. Another solution that has been proposed is to not buy the tickets on the resale site. This is a tweet from a promoter and talent booker in relation to the Pretty Light situation. And as you can see, if you don't own or control the ticketing platforms, the only way to stop this in the short term is for fans who refuse to buy aftermarket tickets from these companies. The power is in the end purchaser's hands and wallets, but FOMO enables these trash scalpers to keep winning. And that solution has also been proposed by a lot of people in the Pretty Lights family Facebook group. I mean, if you think about it, if let's say, take Pretty Lights or Taylor Swift, if nobody bought those tickets, those reselling tickets, they're pretty much worthless, right? After that concert happens, you can't do anything with them. And if let's say a company buys up hundreds or thousands of dollars of tickets and tries to resell them and they can't, they just lost out on an insane amount of money. I'm gonna be honest though, as well, I don't think that's a really good approach because at the end of the day, there are gonna be people who are gonna be just buying those tickets because they really wanna see them. In my mind, I think there's really two solutions we have One is logistics. Somehow, and I'm gonna be honest, it's tough to say exactly the right approach. One is to make it harder for bots to purchase on some sites. That's one approach. I think it's very easier said than done though, because again, it's kind of like cat and mouse, where the second you find a way to remove the bots, they create a new algorithm or do some more programming to then actually bring the bots back, right? This is kind of big game of cat and mouse. The second thing is making it that you can't resell the tickets or they're non-transferable, meaning if I, Mark Freccero, purchase a ticket and for whatever reason I can't go, something comes up, I am not able to send it to anybody else. I'm not able to resell it. Even if I want to resell it for the same value as, as what I paid or even cheaper, I can't do that whatsoever. And those are only a couple different solutions, I think, logistically, in terms of making sure that this doesn't happen again and this doesn't happen in the future. The second other option we have besides logistics is, I think, legal counsel and legal action, making it actually illegal for ticket scalping to happen. No, there's no federal law, at least at the time of this video, that makes it illegal, but different states have different rules about this, but this is still a very tricky thing overall. The fact that now businesses are now being created with a pure mindset of being a resale site, but in actuality, they're buying their own tickets to then resell their own tickets to make a profit. This is getting absolutely ridiculous, and I think as time has gone on, it's been getting worse. There's no question there, it's been getting worse, which means something needs to happen.